Hello, my paper peeps. Today I want to share with you a junk journal idea using a paper bag and turning it into a tag foldout for photos and travel finds. So let's get started. Now I already did a video on 11 free finds, and so I'm going to put a link to that one here, and that'll show you what I used in the other pages here to adorn my journals. But let's continue with the journal and creating in it. So here we go. One of the things I thought was quite interesting were bags. And this is one thing you can really, like, if you're shopping out there, you have to remember companies spend a lot of money marketing their products. And so they do spend a lot of money on their packaging. So I thought, why not use this as well? And the great thing with bags is that you can just squish them down and stick them in your luggages without adding too much weight or bulk to your luggage. So I thought I'd take this home and, I'm going to show you exactly how I use these two in my journal. First, I'll do a rough trim here because I actually want to use this here. So we'll do rough. A rough cut here. Okay. That is a great hinge system. And when I was fooling around with this, I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. So you know what? We're going to show you how I use it in the journal here. Now, one of the things I like to do is I love to bring my Instax with me because it's simple. I like to craft when I'm on my travels with very minimal supplies, to the point where I'll only bring this container right here, and it's an actual tech case, and whatever fits in here, that's all I can bring. And so it's quite the challenge. And I find that the best thing for me and the fun thing for me is to actually bring an Instax camera and then just print photos as I go along, because I do love to craft when I'm on my travels. And so what I'll do is, it just so happened that this actually fits these photos perfectly. Like that. Isn't that incredible? So that can be an actual place to put, photos. Yeah, I was over the moon with nails because they had these cool press-on nails, and I don't normally wear nails because I do play the piano, and my day job does not allow me to wear nails. And so yeah, the fact that you can just press these on, press and go, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm addicted. Anyways, I digress. Anyways, I thought that this would be an interesting way to catalog memories, as well as place things like your boarding pass. Slip that right in there, and that becomes a place where you can actually store paraphernalia. So, but how do I do this? Well, first thing you do is, because you only want the stuff to come out this side. Now, one of the things I do is I make sure that I pre-organize my junk journal, so I'm not bringing a lot. And so I pre-stamp all my pages with the idea that this is what's going to happen, is I'm going to journal all the places I've seen, and then just place photos in those areas. And sometimes I'll actually do art pages as well, because it just kind of breaks up the journal a little bit. I like using double-sided adhesive, and always having like one that's 1/8 of an inch in thickness will allow you to create these pockets without it taking up too much space. If you're going to fit things in here, the good thing is that you can't seal this side. Ideally, as pockets, you want to seal this off, but in order to get this hinge system, you can't really seal this off. But the great thing is that, if you place it close enough to this, to the spine there, nothing really falls out, because you're really just pushing everything through this part right here, and then pulling it out. So, but before we do that, we actually have to make sure this fits. So that fits, and any of the other fun things that you want to place in there. But another free thing that you can get on your travels, especially in Japan, are chopsticks. Most restaurants will give you these disposable chopsticks, so you can use that. And what I'll do here is I'll actually use this as kind of a hinge system like this. Adhere that down, and then so that I can actually do this with it. You know what's really good is floss thread, and then finding like a needle that is really good for, you know, using with embroidery floss, and then using, you know, obviously you need one of these to help you thread that through. Now I'm going to show you how I put all this together just using floss thread. And so grab a considerable amount, I would say. The more you have, the better, because we really want to make sure that the chopstick will stay put. Okay. So yeah, most of my travels, I did some scrapbooking, but for this more intricate stuff, you kind of wait till you get home to be able to do all this stuff. Now, the first thing you want to do is I want it to kind of, the thing is, I want this to stick out of the book like that. Like, isn't that cool, ephemera? Like, isn't that cool, just having it kind of stick out of the book like that? It's like, that's pretty awesome. Anyways, I'm going to have it stick out like that. The one thing is I want to kind of keep these separate like that. Okay, just to have that kind of chopstick look. And in order to do that, I actually have to be able to weave the thread in between, in and out of that. So we'll just do that. Place a hole here, pushing right through to the other side. Then, to this side. But the thing is, you want to make sure, see, I kind of punched a hole through there. You can't seal these two, or else you won't have this hinge system. So, oops, I punched a hole there. You just want to punch right just through here. Okay, so my bad, I did that wrong. Then we'll do this here on this side. And then we'll do another one through this one here, another one here, another one, kind of don't want those separate, so here, I think that's pretty good. We want these separated, so put one here. Now this is the fun part, is just weaving it in and out of this right here. Again, we didn't punch any holes. There's my mistake. Didn't punch any holes there, but we're going to kind of start weaving this in like this. Kind of going through that hole there. Then we're going to just weave this through the other side. Come through here now, making sure here, this one, we're going in between the chopsticks because we want to separate them. Then I'm just going to go back through here. So there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm sewing this pattern on. I would say it's more of an irregular vector pattern that you might have seen in some of the Japanese art that's out there. So now you have this really cool insert here. I place my photos in there. You can actually have a photo here. Now I like to stamp my photos with archival ink, but for now I'm just going to use some repositional tape because I want to make sure everything is looks good before I actually, you know, place it in there. So repositional tape is always good to temporarily place your photos in there, whether that's there, there. I might actually replace these photos with photos that are kind of go this way, that are more lengthwise. So when you flip on it, you can actually do that. But you know what? Just it's just neat to see what things will look like. There. Yeah, you don't have to have a photo there if you don't want, because it's mostly going to be doing that. So see, that's why it's good to have just repositional tape there. But then what you do is, we'll just, now that that system's set up, I'm just going to see, let's take this out, exactly where I want it to sit in my book. Like, come on, you got to admit that's pretty cool. There we go. So I'm just going to make sure that when I place that in there, I guess it's going to be centered, because you don't want it out like that. I mean, that's okay too. Then you have more room to place all this other stuff. Again, always looking at ways like, how am I going to embellish? What is it going to look like in the end? You know, that's kind of neat too, like that. So that's kind of neat, instead of having it right in the middle, which is fine too. Kind of want it in the middle, like that, right? Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to just add it like this. Yeah, it has to be in the middle. I think the middle is the best, because you want it to stick out the side. Basics, and use some double-sided adhesive. This is why we do repositional, or we do this, because it's amazing how you get caught doing something and you're like, oh no, I forgot to take that into account. There. See how that works? And then you have day 6, you can stamp a little bit more. And then you can place more paraphernalia in there without worrying if it's gonna fall out, because then it can actually just go through here. You know, if it's just paper, it's not gonna fall out, it'll just kind of push through here, but you can add your things there. So I thought that was kind of neat. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more tips and tricks on how to scrapbook or junk journal, you'll probably want to watch these videos here. Until I see you in those videos, take care and have a fantastic week. Bye!